Hi, my name is Ray Naylor, and this is the Performing Songwriter. My guest today is Aaron Nathans. On his website, Aaron says that his mission is to write songs about things no one else has written about before. He performs both solo as well as with Michael Ronstadt. Aaron has opened for such performers as Lucy Kaplansky, Tracy Grammer, and Vance Gilbert. He was also a finalist at the Kerrville Folk Festival's New Folk Competition. I'll be back shortly. We'll talk to Aaron, and a little bit later, we're going to hear a number of his songs, sung live here on The Performing Songwriter. Aaron Nathans, thanks a lot for coming on.
Hi, Ray.
We've had some issues getting. We were going to get you in originally in January, and then we did all this renovation down here, and then you were in, I don't know what, 3 or 4 weeks ago, and had a little problem with the sound. I think we're okay now.
We've got to stop meeting like this.
Yeah, really. I just wanted to ask you to give us a brief kind of history of how long you've been writing songs, performing.
Oh, sure. Well, I started maybe about 20 years ago when I bought my first guitar, and I was working as a newsman with the wire service in Vermont, and won $200 on a $5 slot machine on a riverboat casino. It may have been a Trump casino, actually. It's relevant today. But that allowed me to buy my first guitar, Washburn, and I was working these odd hours, so I was all alone, nothing to do, so I just started writing songs.
Aaron, you described your music, I'm going to read this, on your website as wild mind, bittersweet acoustic music. Now, what do you mean by that?
It just means that I write free form. I sit down with a pad, and I do just write whatever comes to mind, and then I begin boiling it down from there. And it's acoustic.
Okay. Now, you, a lot of time you perform with Michael Ronstadt.
Yes.
And how long have you been playing with him?
I met Michael about 5 years ago. I opened for his family band, Ronstadt Generations, at the Barrington Coffee House. Okay. I was playing with a fellow named Mark Taylor at the time, and Michael jumped in on a song, and we really seemed to have some chemistry.
Now, Michael plays cello as well as writes songs as well as sings.
Yes.
In terms of your own songwriting, do you have Michael in mind sometimes when you write songs, and do you find that because he plays really an orchestra instrument, does that affect your songwriting at any time?
It affects the songwriting when I'm writing with Michael. But when I'm writing alone, I mean, I guess it's a good chemistry because it already worked. I play him some stuff that I've been playing for years, and he says I can hear cello parts in there. So I think it's a good combination.
Do you find that you have more options of where you're going to play because of the kind of unique combination of you guys?
Well, sure. I mean, a band is always a little bit more powerful than a solo act. I mean, a solo act can certainly be powerful, but if you have two people on a stage, a cello and a guitar and two voices, I think that brings something more powerful to the table.
Okay. Now, this week, actually, because by the time this gets up on YouTube, people won't have time to go, but you're doing a NERFA showcase this week.
That's coming up. It's not quite this week, but it'll be June. I want to say June 16th and 18th. June 16th in Long Island in Huntington.
So people up in that area can actually go.
Yeah, right.
And what's the name of the venue again?
Oh, it's the Hard Luck Cafe series.
Okay.
And then on June, and that's both Michael and me. And then on the 18th, I'm playing solo with the same lineup without Michael. That is at Godfrey Daniels.
Okay, and one of those is the NERFA showcase, right?
They're both NERFA showcases.
They're both okay. Now, I don't think we talked about NERFA is the Northeast Regional Folk Alliance.
Yes.
And I don't think that I've talked about on the show. So I know you've been there a number of times. So I'm going to ask you just to kind of say what that is.
What is NERFA? Well, the Northeast Regional Folk Alliance. There's a folk alliance for the whole country. It's basically the whole folk scene organized as best as it can be organized, which is a ragtag army to be sure, but we always have a great time when we get together. And so you go to the annual conference in, I guess this year it'll be in Stamford, Connecticut. They're moving it.
Yeah.
And there are performances, and there's workshops, and there's mentoring, and there's all kinds of ways to connect with bookers and ways to connect with other musicians, and just ways to up your game and get a little smarter.
Now, at this point, are you going to be in any of the showcases?
Michael and I did a quad showcase at this last year.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So I think we're disqualified from doing that this next year.
Uh-huh.
So.
Okay. I want to talk a little bit about your newest CD with Michael.
Sure.
And here it is. It's called Crooked Fiddle.
Crooked Fiddle.
And well, first of all, the one song that I liked, especially was Old Joe's Chair, which was he really a barber of yours?
Well, I wrote that song with my good friend Phil Henry, and I have a barber named Joe right now, and I think we used his name and we used some of his lines, but it was a composite between barbers that I've known throughout my life and barbers that Phil has known throughout his. We kind of built a portrait of a relationship between a man and his barber.
Mm-hmm. Now, also, what I wanted to ask you, there was a song, let's see what the title was, about Bob Dylan, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yes, If I Had an Axe.
If I Had an Axe, which is a little bit critical of Bob, and which is not hard to do, I don't think.
No.
But then the next song is, in fact, it's a Bob Dylan song, The Watchtower.
Right.
So I know you did that for a reason. I was going to ask you your explanation.
Well, Phil, who I was just talking about a moment ago, he mixed the album, and we were talking about the order, and it was actually his idea to take the two songs and put them back to back. So there may have been some subliminal ideas there, but I do something every year called February Album Writing Month, where I write 14 songs in a month, and I've written with Phil, and I've written with Michael, and a bunch of other people, and I write a lot of songs alone, because that's a lot of songs to fill.
It's a lot of songs.
But I can't remember exactly what year. Maybe it was 2014. I want to say just before the album. It was one of the last songs we recorded, and it would have been February of that year. I think Pete Seeger had just passed, and I kept waiting for Bob Dylan to say something.
Yeah.
I watched his webpage. I watched his Twitter feed. Nothing. And so I started getting a little angry on Pete's behalf, because I know there had been some tension there. I know there had been a lot of warmth there too, many years before, but I just kind of imagined Pete, dying and waiting for Bob to reach out that one last time, and it never happened. But I did know that there was that moment at the baseball stadium where Bob came to Pete's town up off the Hudson, Dutchess Stadium, I think it was, and Pete got to see Bob from afar, but he had to buy a ticket.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's in the song.
Yeah. Okay. By the way, it's a really good CD.
Thank you.
So again, it's called Crooked Fiddle, and check it out. Because now's our time for our showcase via video, and I thought we'd do Michael Ronstadt, him performing alone.
Oh, sure.
And this is a song called Promised Land.
I like that one.
Okay, Michael Ronstadt, and then we'll be back with a few more questions, and then we'll hear some music.
Close-minded people certainly aren't shy, 'cause when they speak it's usually a lie. But I'm taking each low blow in stride, standing stronger when they fight, giving strength to men with bright futures in their eyes. I really hope that someday you will see. You will say, hey, I'm sorry for those poorly chosen words, 'cause 'Cause when the truth hit you so deep, you realize that you're the one. That cheap tricks plague the promised land, carrying guns and hurting some. Words so false they fall out quick, branding all who sit and live. When change is what our country needs today, our future hangs on flames and our decay. Tempers think they see at night, light helps them to realize. Deep down we all know the truth, simply scared to make some room. I really hope that someday you will see. You will see. I'm sorry for those poorly chosen words, 'cause when the truth hit me so deep, I realized that I'm the one. That cheap tricks plague the promised land, carrying guns and hurting some. Words so false they fall out quick, burning all who sit and live. Changes get blamed again for human inequality. 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 Yeah, I'm sorry for those poorly chosen words.
So, that was Michael Ronstadt, who performs with you
Indeed.
probably a lot.
A lot.
Okay.
He plays with a lot of other people, too.
Yeah. Well, he's excellent,
He is.
both with his songwriting as well as with the instrument.
He can play a lot of different instruments.
Can he really?
He's an amazing guitar player.
Oh, wow.
He played the mandolin on our album, and I'm sure there's a lot of instruments he plays that I don't know about.
One of those kind of people that I hate.
I'm a little jealous.
Now, a couple of years ago, you were a finalist at the Kerrville New Folk competition.
Yes.
And I think we talked about this on the show, but if you could briefly say what that competition is.
Oh boy, the Kerrville New Folk. It's a Kerrville folk festival in Texas, and every year they have a contest, and they have a whole lot of people apply. And I was lucky enough to get in 2011. Phil was actually in my class along with the Yayas and Karen Oliver and the 2010 Paramours and a bunch of other friends of mine. It was an amazing experience, and I got to see David Wilcox and Buddy Monlock, and got to see Judy Collins for the first time. It was really an amazing experience.
And for songwriters that might be watching here, do you have any recommendations if they're interested in submitting their songs, what they might want to keep in mind?
Tips for getting into Kerrville?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, just keep going. You know, it took me, I guess, maybe 6 years to get in, and read the guidelines. And I think they like variety, and I think they like stories with. I mean, I'm just speculating here because I can't get into their heads, but.
Right.
Every song that I heard people play had a good third act, a good ending. The story came to a conclusion, and so that would be my advice.
Okay. Now we're going to set you up to play, and while we're doing that, I have a video in terms of our next, should say, guest. And actually, the video is only the one person because they don't have any of the group yet, but they will after this next show. Let me get everybody's names right. Marion Halliday, and her sister Jane Halliday, and Donna Bostock. And they're relatively, at least new in this area. And Marion has not been writing songs for that long, but I really like her songs. And they're putting this trio together, and they're calling it the Trickster Sister. So we're going to take a look at this video. It's not the best video in the world, but we'll get a sense of how Marion sings. And then when they come, there'll be three of them.
sassy, a little bit sweet, tastiest morsel you ever did meet. With a look so sweet and a mouth so tart, it's no wonder it would break my heart. Oh, hey dilly dilly and a dairy-o, hey dilly dilly and a dairy-dairy-o, hey dilly dilly and a dairy-o, hey dilly dilly and a dairy-dairy-o. That brawny lad by the name of Will lived on the house up on Lebanon Hill. Followed him home and I gave him a kiss. Molly Bloom wasn't happy with this. Well, a little bit brassy and long in the tooth, what she couldn't win was mine to lose. Oh, hey dilly dilly and a dairy-o, hey dilly dilly and a dairy-dairy-o, hey dilly dilly and a dairy-o, hey dilly dilly and a dairy-dairy-o. You know, imagine a nice fiddle instrumental. With harmonies, but a little bit brassy and long in the tooth, what she couldn't win was mine to lose. Oh, hey dilly dilly and a dairy-o, hey dilly dilly and a dairy-dairy-o, hey dilly dilly and a dairy-o, hey dilly dilly and a dairy-dairy-o. Well, it caught me the boy up on Lemon Hill. He spent all my money and I can't pay a bill. All he gave to me was a baby raise, hardly to last all of my days. So I gave him the boot or the Molly Bloom, and now that pair can sing this tune. Oh, hey dilly dilly and a dairy-o, hey dilly dilly and a dairy-dairy-o, hey dilly dilly and a dairy-o, hey dilly dilly and a dairy-dairy-o, hey dilly dilly and a dairy-o. Okay, there you go.
Well, this is If I Had an Axe, and it is about the great schism in folk music. We come here every summer to rise in song as one, to play the songs of freedom as we sit out in the sun, to push the movement forward, passed down from me to you. And through those big old speakers, we'll hear you speak your truth. I am the snake. If I had an axe, I'd cut that cord. What is that awful sound? Everyone who cheered you is gonna run you out of town. You seem to be determined to push everyone away. Now all I can do is let you go your own way. You sang of Medgar Evers in the Mississippi sun. A field of black kids gathered and a few white men with guns. In the picture I'm behind you, leaning in, my eyes are closed, and I could swear I saw the future behind that microphone. I am the snake. If I had an axe, I'd cut that cord like you cut me away. One moment I'm your father, the next I'm your mistake. It seems that you're determined to leave a wreckage in your wake. Now all I can do is let you go your own way. Phil Oakes and Tom Paxton, you cut 'em off like your home state. You even cut off Joni Baez like you cut off your old name. I'm out among the people. I see they've set your stage at an old minor league ballpark. I doff my cap and wave, but for you the crowd is screaming. Can't make out what you say. I had to buy a ticket, but it's good to see your face and hear your music. If I had an axe, I'd cut this silence, help you find some joy. They put you on a pedestal, but I know you're still that scared little boy, hoping somebody will listen to what you have to say. It's because I love you that you let you go your way. This is Old Film. It's a new song. Old Film, new song. This is about, I don't know how many of you have ever had the experience of finding some old 35 millimeter rolls of Kodak color film in your basement or in your closet, but it is simultaneously a really bad idea and a really cool thing. So this is Old Film. Every now and then I find them hidden in the dust. Found them when I wasn't looking, found them when I straighten up. In the pocket of some old blue jeans or back behind the magazines. I gather them inside a bag and tuck them in my drawer. Old film. Old film. For years I've heard the warnings. They said I shouldn't wait. They say that time breaks down the colors as the picture slowly fades. They were sitting there behind my socks and I could always hear that ticking clock. But I always had so much to do, and who has time today for old film? Old film. In my story there are gaps, I know there's missing photographs, shots I took but never saw. I clicked the shutter and they were gone. You were one of my great friends till you gave up your ghost. How could we have gone a lifetime with no pictures of us both? Last night I saw you in a dream, and you were smiling back at me. I woke up and I opened up that drawer and felt around for old film. Old film. I trembled like I cracked the lock that opened up Pandora's box. What secrets lie inside those little cans I couldn't know. The man behind the counter says, I think we did okay. And he fires up a computer, grabs a disc and presses play. And there you are in faded tones. It was my birthday and my friends all showed. And somewhere deep inside my brain I felt something come alive. And we were standing in that crazy bar, and you let me borrow your guitar. And I looked so young, you looked so free, you played your mandolin. And if I could have the color back, in these less than vivid photographs. I'd have lost this moment here with you, memories made new by old film, old film. Here's Old Joe's Chair, which I wrote with Phil Henry of Rutland, Vermont. Sit me down in that old leather seat, put my feet up, spin me around and smile and call me by my name. Old Joe, he's a sight in his horn rims and white hair. And just like this barber shop, they don't make 'em quite the same. So take a little off the top, take a little off the sides, brush the burden from my shoulder, take the load off of my mind. Always find my way back there. He shakes his shears from the big blue jar, asks, how are ya? And I tell him, Joe, I don't know where I dare begin. If I say it's been a damn hard year, would it be too honest? If Joe keeps on clipping, I know my secret's safe with him. So take a little off the top, take a little off the sides, brush the burden from the shoulder, take my load off of my mind. Always find my way back there. Old Joe's chair. Old Spice and hardwood floors and bad jokes from before the war, and Polaroids on the walls from days gone by. Now men don't cry, men don't do sad, but sitting here I feel like I'm talking with my dad. First moment's peace I've had in a long, long while. Turns me around with a wink and hands me a mirror. And I tell him, Joe, I swear I look like a new man. He says, son, you could never get too many haircuts. Don't be a stranger, and he offers me his hand. Top, take a little off the sides, brush the burden from my shoulder, take the load off of my mind. Always find my way back there to Old Joe's chair. Old Joe's chair. Old Joe's Joe's chair. All right, one more. This is another new song. tune a little bit for this one. This is called Turncoat Peanut. My son has a peanut allergy. He's now 4 years old. We discovered this when he was 2. And nothing was really ever the same after that, at least going outside the house. So have to constantly be on guard. So this is the song I wrote about peanuts, which I loved. Now we have a complicated relationship, peanuts and me. Turncoat Peanut. The ball field below, I remember the smell. Ripped open the bag and I cracked that shell. Popped them in my mouth and cheered for my team. Before my boy wasn't even a gleam. Every day as a child, every day as a man, I sit with a spoon and a jar in my hand. Protein packed, crunchy or smooth. This awakening's gonna be rude. Turncoat, thy name is Peanut. I thought you were my friend. You were most delicious, but now we're at an end. Sitting at the reception, little jacket and tie, we handed my boy a cookie, innocent as pie. Next thing you know, he's all swelled up, his little face gone red. Took him to the doctor, here's what the doctor said. She said, Turncoat, thy name is Peanut. Nuts are not his friend. Good thing you got him tested. Here's your EpiPen. Looking at labels and checking them twice, checking his sandwich and checking his rice, running ahead to every bloody door before he can knock and say trick or treat, explaining at rest stops, explaining at schools, explaining at parties, explaining at kid shows, asking the waiter who calls for the manager, who calls for the owner, who calls for the lawyer, who reads a disclaimer that says that a peanut may once have been somewhere within half a mile of the factory that makes our pizza. Turncoat, thy name is Peanut. You just don't fit in. Once you leave the premises, the party can begin. Pieces of Reese's, PB&J. Roasted or toasted, I sent them away. Sauce over pasta, creamy Penang. Now they're gone, all I feel is a pang. Turncoat, thy name is Peanut. You threaten my flesh and blood. You were most delicious, but now your name is Mud. All right.
Aaron, very good songs.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed playing them.
I really like your songs. And I like when you and Michael play together, too.
Thank you.
People want to learn more about you, want to get your CDs. How may they do that?
Well, you can go to my website. It's aaronnathans.com. That's Aaron with 2 A's and Nathans with an S on the end. And you can also go to nathansandronstadt.com. That's Ronstadt with a T at the end, as Michael likes to say.
And they can get your CDs through your website?
My website has a link to CD Baby.
Oh.
And I think Nathans and Ronstadt does as well.
Okay. Aaron.
Thank you, Ray. It's a
Thank
pleasure.
you very much. And I'll be back. Actually, I'm recording the next show in 2 days, so, 3 days. So anyway, so we'll be back we will be next week with, and let me give you the names again, Marion Halliday, Donna Rostock, and Jane Halliday. And the group, or the trio, is called Trickster Sister. And we'll see you then.